So there's a couple of coaching notes we want to touch on in this clip, and the first one of those is pressing triggers. You'll notice here Lionel Messi, the intensity of his run to press is slow, it's laboured, and people often criticise him for this in games, but in actual fact it's an intelligent form of pressing called pressing traps. And what Messi is doing is he's allowing the defender advance to a certain point on the pitch. Now by doing that, Messi is able to cut out passes. So for example, if Messi was to press full intensity, the player could simply play back to his goalkeeper and play out the other side and wasted energy. By delaying his run, Messi is able to cut out passes to his goalkeeper, even centrally. And by doing this, what that does is it makes play predictable. So when we speak about predictability, that means that the defender hasn't got much options or many places he can go now that those passing sources are cut out. So Messi's teammates are able to get closer to their opponents because the pass is more predictable, play is more predictable, and oftentimes that can result in possession being regained. Now the build-up play for Barcelona for this goal is absolutely tremendous, but there are other coaching points, and one I wanted to touch on was Gerard Piqué, and Piqué is not the quickest defender in the world, but his reading of the game is exceptional. Again, you'll often see managers talk about centre halves, why aren't they close enough to the centre forward, or why aren't they getting tight, but oftentimes coaches forget that they're defending the goal. So if you've got a centre half who isn't maybe as quick as other players are, then your reading of the game is important, and first and foremost protecting the goal is important, especially when playing a high line. So it's something I think Gerard Piqué does really well in terms of his reading of situations and how he reads predictable passing options and already sets out to cover distance or ground before the opponent can even react or read the passing triggers from his teammates. So I just think Gerard Piqué's awareness as a centre half and his reading of situations is really world class. I think from this point the thing to watch is Barcelona's build-up play. In particular their patience, some of the movement to create space, some of the awareness and tactical understanding of the game, intelligence to drop into positions. It's just really an outstanding goal and typical of Barcelona. I'm actually just going to circle Messi, who's about to come into screen here, and it's probably worth watching. He doesn't move a lot, but it's just the positions in which he moves to, always understanding how the ball will affect opponents' movement and where they will need to move to in order to gain the advantage for himself by picking up positions that will exploit the positioning of opponents in relation to the ball. Really a genius, and his level of understanding of the game is something of the highest level. And really it's not just Messi, he's playing with so many geniuses in that team, and probably now an example of that. And again, it's really simple movement but intelligent movement, awareness by Iniesta of Messi, and the awareness to create space for Messi. Iniesta drops in order to create that distance between himself and Messi, which gives to the opponent a decision to make, and that's the key thing to note here. Does the opponent track in and follow Iniesta, or does he stay where he is in order to block pass from Messi? Either way, Iniesta will get on the ball if the opponent chooses not to follow him in, or in this case, which he does, the opponent follows Iniesta in and they quickly slip Messi in, and all of a sudden you're away. Now for anybody who watches Barcelona, you'll see this tactic so many times with them, where one of their front three will drop wide onto the fullback's shoulder, and oftentimes it's Alba who's the overlapping player. They will exploit a 2v1 in those situations, and so often this produces goals for Barcelona with a simple overlap cutback, and you're in real trouble, especially when you've got players with the caliber of Messi on the end of those passes. And if we just rewind that back for a second, another coaching point to note is some people might be watching this and asking, well, how have they allowed that 2v1 to develop in a wide area? And the answer to that is it's caused by the player who drops into the space between lines. So in that instance it's Lionel Messi. and because he's got in behind the midfield, the central midfield area, one of the wide players is actually having to come in and try and make a recovery run. So Messi quickly switches the ball wide, and that 2v1 is able to be exploited.